Hello and welcome. So, we're going to talk today about yoga as a universal science and philosophy. So, welcome back. And I really wanted to make sure you got this video because we're really going to dive into this really important topic because yoga is a universal science and philosophy. So, let's start with the question. When you hear the word yoga, what comes to mind first? Now, you already take yoga and have been exposed, but for the average person who's never been exposed, when you take a moment and think in their perspective, are they thinking postures, breathing, meditation? More often than not, they're thinking religion or culture. So if you put yourself in their shoes, what do you think? What can you anticipate their preconceptions are, right? So here's how you would respond to that. Because here's the thing, yoga is not a religion, and it's one of the most common misunderstandings because yoga is actually a science. It's a practical system of knowledge that has been around for over 5,000 years. And yeah, that's right. It goes all the way back to the Indus Valley civilization, which means that it predates every major religion by thousands of years, which is pretty amazing. And when you look at it in that context, you're like, whoa, this is like really old ancient teachings. So the reflection question that I have for you is how does knowing that yoga existed before religion shift the way you're now seeing it? It gives it a different shift. And it makes you now realize, oh, okay, it gives you the viewpoint of maybe now accepting the fact of you viewing it as a philosophy. Because it is also philosophy. It's the philosophy of living. It's non dogmatic, non denominational, and it doesn't ask you to believe in anything specific. Instead, what it does is it offers you a systematic approach to your own self realization, your own spiritual growth, your own harmony. And you could think of it like a map. But this map isn't telling you which car to drive or which music to play. It's just giving you the directions. Like, this is the destination you'd like to go to. And then, like GPS, you pick your route. Does that make sense? Right? So, the other reflection then will then be like, okay, if yoga is a map, then what do you think your personal destination will be? And that'll be different for every student. It'll be different for you. So the key points to remember is let's break this down to into a few major essentials. One, very clear. Yoga is non-religious. It's not tied to any one faith. It's not tied to any one belief system or even specific culture because everyone marinates with it the way it feels good to them. And maybe many people get it misconstrued because they think it comes or that it's the same as Buddhism or Hinduism, and that's far from the truth. The yogic Vedanta predates every major religion. They said it's about 3 to 5 thousand years. So when you look back at every major religion, then you look at most of their morals and ethics and instructions or ways of living, they can actually be traced back to the Vedas and these ancient principles because instead, yoga is rooted in this perennial wisdom, these universal truths that show up in many of the traditions all over the world. So we're talking Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, all of them all predate and can go back to these basic same moral principles. So, yoga is both a philosophy and a science. And again, as a philosophy, it's inviting you for your own self inquiry, your own self reflection. It's a deeper understanding of the self and the universe and how you are, like, with where you fall in this life, right? And then as a science, it gives us a method, a step by step method for achieving physical health, mental clarity and health, and spiritual well being. And then yoga is pretty much it's very practical. And this is what's very important because yoga isn't just theory, it's a toolbox. And inside this toolbox is where we have the postures, the breath work, the meditations, and even the ethical guidelines that help us just live a little bit more balanced, a little bit more in harmony, less suffering. It's a beautiful toolbox. And yoga teaches us these universal truths that at the heart, it just reflects good good, clean laws of existence that apply to all human beings, regardless of culture or background. And you'll see these truths, like I said, echoed in all of the different spiritual texts around the world, but they all come back to this. Let's just be good humans. Let's just help each other. Let's just do good deeds, right? So, why do we study classics like Patanjali's Yoga Sutras and the Bhagavad Gita? Not as religious texts, but we use them as manuals for the human experience. And we read them as enlightened texts so that they can just speak to us where we are in our time of life, and the human spirit as the reader without judgment. And it gives us, again, little tips to find our own way home, to learn how to let go of this suffering rather than working through it. How about we find the root of it? It reminds us all that we're all human, that we're perfectly imperfect, that we're all here for the same thing. We're all here to just live in peace, to experience love, to thrive, and who knows, bliss if we ever even get there. But at least the step by step journey to finding our own self discovery, to just aim towards it and enjoy it on the way there. So, when someone asks you, is yoga a religion? Please, with all confidence, the answer is no. No, it is not a religion. It is a universal science and philosophy. It is a practical system that anyone can use to just find and seek a more balanced and harmonious life. Please be comfortable in saying that because that really is what it is. And so, I guess a final reflection question that I'm going to give you is, how is this new shift in perspective, this new understanding help you in the future as a yoga teacher, especially when you're speaking to students who may be really bound by religious dogma and misconceptions or cultural reservations about yoga? Um, Find a way to compassionately meet them where they're at and then be able to explain it in a language that they'll understand. Keep it very layman's, don't get esoteric, because that's it, right? That's our exploration of yoga as a science and philosophy. Remember, universal practice. It belongs to all of us. Anyone can do it. If you have a body, you can do yoga. If you can breathe, you can do yoga. It does not have to be born in India. You don't have to go to India. It belongs to all of us. Everyone. Um, I think that's it for this video because we're going to touch on it on so many other videos. But that's your answer. Yoga is not a religion. Let's move it on. Let's get to class.